Welcome back. So, the big, beautiful bill, the controversial bill, has been approved. What does that mean for Bitcoin and crypto, and what else is going on in the space? Let me explain a day before the 4th of July. So hopefully you guys are still sober, still resting at your home. You're able to watch this before tomorrow. But this is pretty big. The House passes Trump's big, beautiful bill. Okay? It went on for an entire day. This is highly controversial because of, some of the tax cuts, some of the tax breaks, and also other things that it cuts and adds. I mean, there's really no pleasing everyone. Very controversial. Some, like Elon, thinks it's horrible. So we'll see how this affects markets come Monday, whether Wall Street likes it or Wall Street doesn't. But there are a few things that relate to crypto specifically. Number one, it was rumored that Senator Loomis and also David Bailey, they were pushing and thinking that there would be a provision in there that would eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin transactions. Turns out the final version did not have it. It was removed. So unfortunately, that was not snuck in. If that was snuck in, man, that would have been absolutely enormous, but it wasn't. However, there is something else. This big, beautiful bill, one of the reasons why it's so controversial is how much it's going to increase U.S. deficit. Okay? Trillions upon trillions. We're already at 37 trillion plus, and now this will increase it another 4 trillion. So there's obviously a lot of spending in this bill. Even though there are cuts, but there's also a lot of spending in there as well. This is one of the reasons why Elon hates it. But what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, obviously, a lot of people do not like it. When we have so much deficit, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be more printing of dollars and there's going to be more borrowing. And it's a never-ending cycle. That's why so many people turn to Bitcoin now. So this is a huge, huge thing that will probably drive more corporations, more funds, more retail investors, more long-term holders to all accumulate more Bitcoin. This could be the reason why Bitcoin today almost touched 111. Right now, sitting at 1097. So we've been inching upwards. And this weekend, well, tomorrow's not the weekend. Tomorrow's the 4th. And this weekend could be quite interesting. And you know what? Next week could be even more interesting. Or the next 2 weeks, I should say. Because there are 3 more bills or acts waiting to be voted upon. One is that Genius Act we talked about, for the last however many weeks. There's also a Clarity Act, which encompasses all of crypto, which is also a good thing. And then there's an anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. I didn't even know that was a thing. But we have 3 major acts that will be voted upon within the next 2 weeks. And they could all be very, very good for Bitcoin and crypto. Right? On top of everything else that's happening. So, man, next week is going to be absolutely enormous. We'll see what happens from the big, beautiful bill. And also, are we going to get some of these passed by the House? Right? We'll see. We'll see. But right now, we know that Bitcoin is the asset to hold. The volatility, even though some of you guys may think Bitcoin is volatile, it's really darn low. If you look at where it is now, it's as low as the bottoms of some of our previous crypto winters when things were dead, like 2020 and 2023 when Bitcoin was just basically near bottom. There was no momentum at all. We are as volatile as those times, which means it's not very volatile at all, which means there are a lot of people loading up right now. And I think you guys know that. I talk about it all the time. All these new companies that are pushing to come in to build treasuries or enact laws or something, one or another. Here's one. A group led by Metaplanet seeks to acquire this DV8 on Thailand Stock Exchange, expanding the Bitcoin on balance sheet into Southeast Asia. And here's another company. Figma joins corporate Bitcoin wave with a $70 million ETF investment. As you can see, the train has left the station and it's not stopping. And right now, as we climb higher and towards that all-time high, there are a lot of metrics, like this one, that show we are nowhere near the top. We still have 5 months left of this year, and we may just keep on continuing after this year too. But we are, for certain, nowhere near top. There are a lot of signals or signs or patterns that also indicate that. Here's one, Wyckoff accumulation. Wyckoff accumulation is a pattern meant for institutions of whales to accumulate, to scare out retail investors. And Bitcoin is following it. If that's the case, we are about to move higher. And also, Bitcoin does follow the M2 money supply, which has been skyrocketing. So are we going to follow that too? Well, traditionally, that's what Bitcoin does. Follow the M2 money supply. So it's good. It's good to be in Bitcoin right now. And that's why so many people are coming in. If you haven't picked that up yet, you should, because I've been covering it every single day for years now. Now, besides Bitcoin, there are others. Like which ones? Well, we know that there are a lot of ETFs, pending ETFs. In fact, Solana just got an ETF recently. Okay, through some reverse merger, some kind of like crazy Wall Street thing. They actually got it done. Bitcoin's ETFs are doing absolutely fantastic. I bet it's the third highest revenue generating ETF out of almost 1,200 funds. So there's definitely a lot of institutional interest. And there are pending Cardano and AVAX and Litecoin and Dogecoin ETFs. Guess who's in the mix? Now Aptos, Bitwise, is trying to get an Aptos ETF approved. Okay, and this is after a couple big things that has happened on Aptos recently. For example, Aave being deployed on Aptos. This is pretty big. Aave is one of the biggest decentralized finance projects out there, and they have expanded to Aptos. And this is the very first non-EVM deployment. So that's number one. And number two, another huge thing that Aptos came out with is Shelby, their hot storage. They call it Web3's first cloud-grade infrastructure. What does that mean? They have created a storage that is meant for like real-time data, video, AI, as you can see. Pay-per-view video, token-gated content, AI pipelines, dynamic NFTs, right? So this is created for very high-performance, real-time fetching, streaming, accessing, whatever you're looking for, right? So they go on and explain sub-second reads, high throughput through a dedicated fiber network. So this is not over the public internet. This is utilizing a dedicated fiber network. This is still decentralized. It's chain agnostic, meaning that they will support other chains like Solana, Ethereum, Cosmos, and others. Okay? And they still have all the things that come with decentralization, like monetization, data protection, eliminating single points of failure, all that stuff. So it's quite interesting because recently, you know, another project, Sui, came out with one too. They're called Walrus. And this guy kind of compares it. I didn't even know. Walrus is more like a cold storage, and Shelby is more of a hot storage. So they're different. This guy actually explains it quite well. So cold storage you would use for like archiving, snapshots, NFTs, backups, right? Things that you don't need to access all the time right away. And it could be low throughput. Shelby, on the other hand, is meant for streaming, AI, other important systems that need very high throughput, right? So, pretty interesting indeed. Good for Aptos, good for Sui. And let's see if this new Shelby takes off and if Aptos gets their own ETF, which will be huge for them and everyone else that gets their own ETF. It'll be huge for them as well. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, you're having some downtime. You're getting ready for some barbecuing, for some drinking, for some family and friends, for some fireworks tomorrow. Have a great 4th of July. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video tomorrow. Probably not. Unless Bitcoin breaks into a new high territory, there may be. Otherwise, have a good night. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.